Well, I have an extremely rare model steam engine here today to showcase for you. Ever since I've known the existence of these engines, I've been after one. This is many years. They are very rare. They don't come up for sale very often, and when they do, people ask silly money for them. This is a Wylie Harris model steam engine. These were made in around about 1947 in the UK in Pontypridd in South Wales. That's about all we know about these. There's very little other information available. They don't really have a name. They were they were called a Tubo metal products. That's Tubo, T-U-B-O, not turbo. Tubo metal products. And as I say, they were made by a company called Wylie Harris. So, and that's it. We don't really know much about them. As you can probably tell, they're rather interesting design. Not least of which is the fact that the meths burner is built into the base. This is the tank at this end for the meths burner. And I'll take it apart. It's very easy to take apart because those sprung wires that go over the boiler basically hold the whole thing together. So you can just prise those off and then the whole thing falls apart. So I'll take it apart in a minute and you can have a look at the burner and the base. But yeah, it's a very nice example of one. As you can see, it's pretty well worn. There's paint missing and so forth, but it's all there. And at this point, I want to say a big shout out to the eBay seller, Eileen, who sold this to me. I bid on this when she first had it out for auction. I was outbid at the last minute and I thought, right, that's it. You know, never mind. You win some, you lose some. About a week later, she got in touch with me. Apparently the winning bidder was not happy with the engine. He'd returned it. So she sent me a second chance offer and asked me if I was interested. So I jumped at it and here it is. So thank you very much, Eileen. I really appreciate it. So, yeah, I don't know whether this runs or not. I haven't tried to run it on air or anything yet, but I probably will do before I try running it on Steam. But yeah, I just to have one of these in my collection is just amazing. It's just absolutely brilliant. Right, we will take those bands off and have a look at the thing disassembled. So I've disassembled it slightly. I love the idea of these spring bands holding the boiler and firebox onto the base. It really makes it easy to take it apart. It's all free now. That comes away from the firebox quite nicely. But I thought you'd like to see the burner arrangement because it's quite interesting. As I said, that's the reservoir. You can see that square part of the base there. This end where my hand is, and then there's simply some wick which comes out of a hole in the reservoir here and is trapped under a bent over bit of the base. Little triangle has been cut there and it's been bent over and pinched the wick at that end, and that's really all there is to it. Very simple. Like I said, I haven't tried this yet, so you know that is to come, but I just thought you'd like to see how they'd done that. One other thing, it did come with the original instruction sheet, and here it is. As it says, Tubo metal products, a Tubo product at the bottom. There's no mention of Wylie Harris, the company, on there, but it definitely was made by them because I've seen boxes that these engines come in and it's got the manufacturer's name, where they're from and everything on there. But I thought you might like to have a look at that as well. Okay, so anyone who watches my channel knows that I like to steam engines because they're not called compressed air engines, they are in fact steam engines. But occasionally I will run engines on air. Running an engine on air, if it's a new engine you've got or a new old engine you've got, running it on air, or at least trying to run it on air, will give you some idea of the condition it's in and whether it's going to run at all, basically. Because whilst if you can run an engine on air, that's no guarantee it will run on steam. If it won't run on air, it pretty much won't run on steam. So it's quite a good test. So I've got it connected up to my little 1960s air compressor here, and I've got the taps open, so there's hardly any pressure going into it. So let's give it a go. I'm not going to run it for too long because anyone who's heard my air compressor in action before will know that it is actually very loud. Yeah, well that runs okay. I've only got it on very low pressure. So hopefully that is a good sign. and it will run okay on steam. So let's try it on steam. Well, there's hot water in there and the burners are light and we've got some stuff coming off. It's been oiled up. Just let it build up some pressure and hopefully we'll have our steam engine running. Well, I think we're about there. Yes, look at that, lovely. Perfect. Now, as you probably can notice, this engine doesn't have a safety valve, pressure relief valve of any description. So I guess what they're relying on is the very weak spring that holds the cylinder against the engine block. So if the pressure gets too great, that will just push the cylinder away from the block and the steam will bleed off. Well, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. That's running superbly. Now I think you can see by the way all the paint is falling off of the boiler that at some point this has, I think, been repainted and quite badly. So I think with regards to restoration, I will almost certainly remove what paint is left on the boiler because it's just horrible at the moment. Whether I repaint it off I don't really know. But I'm more than happy with that as a working Wylie Harris or Wylie Harris steam engine. That really is running superbly. Nothing wrong with that. Very quiet too. Now I've done nothing to it other than oil it up. It obviously runs fine. There's nothing wrong with this at all. So well pleased with that. Has its own vibration moving it slowly around. So there you go, Wylie or Wylie Harris, not really sure how that's pronounced. A Tubo Products model steam engine from around about 1947. Made in Pontypridd, South Wales. Runs superbly. Well, I've just blown the burner out, so we'll see how long it takes to run down. And obviously that burner's, considering it's only a single thin wick lying along the bottom, you know, of the firebox, it obviously creates plenty of heat. There's plenty of pressure there. Well, there's definitely nothing wrong with the engine itself. It just needs cleaning up, really. Yeah, I am so pleased with that. Anyway, there you go. The Wylie Harris Tubo Products model steam engine from around about 1947. I hope you've enjoyed the little video on this. Very rare engine. Thank you very much for watching. Cheers.